Welcome to a tutorial on time correcting drums. I'm using Reaper as my DAW. I've recorded a session with a full drum kit. We have different drums on different tracks. We've got bass drums, snare, overhead, toms and room mics. And also on this bottom couple of tracks we've got a guide guitar and guide vocals. Now this was recorded without a metronome and I'm going to try and time correct it. I've listened to the track and worked out that it's roughly 148 beats per minute. So I've recorded a metronome here on the top track. I find having a visual representation of the metronome helpful so that I can see the peaks of the beats, and that can help guide the correction. I've enabled the grid to 1/8 triplet. What does it say here? 1/8 T, because it's a shuffle beat song. That's where lots of the beats will be. This is what it sounds like. It doesn't matter if the introduction is not aligned to the grid because it sounds tight enough and it's only the drums playing. So we'll go to where the guitar starts. I've grouped all these tracks together. See this green square lock symbol in the corner of all the tracks? That means that if I slice or cut one of the regions, it will cut all the tracks at the same place, because we don't want the drums to become out of time with each other. I find it useful to zoom in on one of the waveforms. While the bass drums are quite obvious and the snare drums quite obvious on the snare track, the overhead track will have all those drums and all the cymbals and everything else in as well. We don't want to be slicing right in the middle of one beat. So bass drum is right on the first one here, so that's great. Snare's a little bit late, so slice that up. So in Reaper I click over the place in the region I want to make the slice and press the S key. If I zoom right in there, you'll see that Reaper creates a fade out of the previous region and a fade into the new region that I've just created a beginning for. And we'll slide this lot, the second region, over the top. See here that the snare drum in the snare only track is slightly ahead of where it appears in the overhead track. That's because the snare microphone is a lot closer to the drum than the overhead mic is, and it takes a little while for the sound to get there, hence it's a bit later in the waveform. How does that sound? Can we notice that? Not really. So I prefer to slice just before a beat, then any slight imperfection that the edit creates will be masked by the very loud sound straight after that edit. Next beat, what's that? What's this? It's a cymbal, doesn't sound too bad there. Got another snare hit here. It's a little bit early, perhaps we'll move that back a bit. So I place the cursor just ahead of the beat, slice, move it back to the right spot. And now I'll extend this region to fill up the space created. In this case I'll create a crossfade where they overlap. Right. Next one, we've got a bass drum that's quite a bit early, so we'll slice, bring it back. We don't have to get it hard onto the grid because we don't want to make the track sound too sterile, but we'll take it back in the right direction. Once again we've got that crossfade where we've dragged the clip to cover the gap. Now by moving that one back in time, we've meant that this bass drum hit here that was sort of in time is now not in time. So we'll create another split and back in time. So we'll listen to that first bar now without the metronome. And that sounds good. That double bass drum here at the end of the bar sounds a lot tighter. So this might take an hour or two to do a song, but it will tighten it up significantly. Thanks for watching.